Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm here with my most disappointing and surprising rookies. So before we start today's video, shout out to the guy who commented saying I should do this. Thank you. And let's talk about them. We'll run through my list right now. Before we do that, I want to hear your comments down below. Do you agree with my list? If you do not, you can hit that dislike button or voice your displeasure down below. If you agree with it, tell me what you think. Any thoughts? Let me hear them. Like and subscribe to help the channel grow. So we're going to run through it. The most disappointing rookies, in my opinion, these are my 6. At number 1, Corey Kespert. Number 2, James Bouknight. Number 3, Trey Murphy III. Number 4, Zaire Williams. Number 5, Jalen Green. And number 6, Jalen Suggs. And I did it with guys who played a reasonable amount of games and minutes, and these guys have. So those are my most disappointing. We'll talk about them first. And next is my most surprising, which is Herbert Jones, Alperen Sengun, Bones Highland, Ayo DeSumo, Delano Banton, and Jeremiah Robinson-Earl round out the 6 guys I have as the most surprising. So let's get right in and start talking about why these guys, in my opinion, have been kind of disappointing, okay? And Corey Kespert was supposed to come in and be the best shooter in the draft. He was supposed to be an even better shooter, like Chris Duarte was heralded as being NBA ready. That's how Corey Kespert was being heralded as NBA ready, a guy who can come in and make an impact immediately. And as we've seen, that has obviously not been the case. So Corey Kespert, why do I think his struggles? I think it's just him getting used to shooting in the NBA, which I understand is difficult. Like it's a different game. The game is not like college, and there is a new ball. But for a guy who's coming in, like legitimately being heralded as the best shooter in his draft class, he has not done any close to make us feel like that was the case. He's had a few games where we've been like, okay, Corey Kespert, like he can still get it done, but what happened right there? Like why? And I know he's not playing a lot of minutes, and that's because Wes Unseld Jr., the coaches defense, and Corey Kespert's off for defense. But I thought if they're putting Davis Bertans out there and Davis Bertans can hit it, why can't Corey Kespert? That's what I got to say about Corey Kespert. It's very disappointing to see what's happening now. Next, similar case, James Bouknight. We know he can score. He's incredibly gifted offensively, and we saw what he did at UConn. But, we heard their coach, okay? And James Borrego, he was just like, you got to play defense. I'm not putting people out there on defense. And some people thought, Tom Thibodeau, it was the guy who used to not play rookies or anybody who didn't play play defense. And, that's just a thought process that's around the league. You won't get minutes in the NBA, no matter how gifted you are offensively, unless you're like Steph Curry or one of those players who is so good. Steph Curry's so good at defense, but there's some players who are so good, like Jordan Clarkson, so good at offense that they make up for the lack of defense. But that's not what James Bouknight is right now. So he can't get on the floor because he's abysmal. He has defensive lapses. He just doesn't try on defense. Trey Murphy, I like Trey Murphy, and he was another guy. He'd been in the college game for a while. He was another guy who was supposed to have a jump. Trey Murphy is how long will it take for him to be, effective? Like he's shooting really well from 37%, on 14 minutes a night. But besides that, he's getting about like a board or two a game. I just think he needs to put that weight on, and I think he's going to be one of those guys who will have a big jump. But again, it's like that weight does do a lot, like having some weight. And Zaire Williams, he was a guy who had struggled at Stanford at number 4. I have right here. He struggled at Stanford, and then he blew up in the preseason in the summer league. He was playing really good, but he's another guy that I think he needed time to work on his shooting form, refine his skills, and really put on weight. I just think the game for the NBA right now is too fast for him, and the Grizzlies knew that. He was a project, so that's why he's been disappointing. I just didn't think he was going to be like this abysmal. Like he's really not playable. Now at 5, I have Jalen Green. Okay, Jalen Green and Jalen Suggs are kind of the same thing. Jalen Suggs is a little bit different. Jalen Green's been getting way too many minutes and just getting the green light that he's just shooting too much and just being allowed to do too much. That I think it's just hindering his development in a way, because I know he's had some good moments, but he's not learning how to be efficient, okay? I think that's just kind of a problem. I think that's why they're going to start toning his minutes down and having him play slowly so he knows he has to earn the minutes and not be given them. Jalen Suggs, his shot's off. I thought he was going to be like Cade Cunningham, a guy who could come in day one and change the culture, make them winners. And that has not been the case whatsoever. And I was really surprised about that because I was like, damn, I thought Jalen Suggs was going to be a guy whose game, even if he had some struggle shooting, which he's had, but he's just had a struggle everywhere, being a turnover machine, hasn't been playing the most elite defense, and now he got hurt. So it just kind of sucks that I thought he was going to be one of those guys who's really pro ready, but he wasn't. So that sucks. That rounds out my 6 guys most disappointing: Corey Kesper, James Bouknight, Trey Murphy III, Zaire Williams, Jalen Green, and Jalen Suggs. Now, I'll run through the most surprising. Herbert Jones, this guy is a 1 through 5. He can defend anybody. Like, honestly, he kind of is like he looks like the next coming of a more athletic and more versatile Robert Covington. And literally, you can guard 1 through 5. He was a guy that was basically a career over a block a game in his 4 years at Alabama. And by the end, he was a guy who was looking like, he also, basically, I think he could be, a poor man's Jonathan Isaac, is what I see from Herbert Jones. And I really like him. Then you have Alperen Sengun. I mean, this guy's post game is unmatched. He looks like a multifaceted Luis Scola, and he's a menace. Okay, in the post, he can pass, he can hop step towards the basket, pass his defender, drop step, do everything. Alperen Sengun, I just released a video on that, so go check that out. He's amazing. Then at 3, I have Bones Highland. He's part of that guard rotation with Austin Rivers, Monte Morris, Facundo Campazzo, and Bones Highland that have been able to hold it down for the Denver Nuggets while Jamal Murray's out, and being able to be one of the best records in the NBA because, Bones Highland's been an effective part of that. And Ayo Dosunmu, in a similar vein, has been able to step in with, Javonte Green, Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, while Kobe White's been out, and be an effective little spark plug off the bench, where he was one of the best college players last year, arguably the best college basketball player last year, who can score at any given moment from all 3 levels. He's a terrific perimeter defender, and he's great. And then, 5, we have Delano Banton, the 6'7" point guard for the Toronto Raptors that they discovered. A guy who can, again, guard multiple positions, pass all over the floor, grab rebounds, and looking like he has a shot. And then my favorite, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, the future center of the Oklahoma City Thunder, 6'10". I don't even think 6'10", maybe 6'9" probably, and like 250. Perfect small ball, guy following the same vein of like the Morris twins, PJ Tucker, those guys where they can play the stretch 4 or they can be a small ball 5 because they are physically and physical enough and strong enough to go in the post or stretch out on the floor. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts, guys. I want to hear your thoughts down below. Let me hear them. Like, comment, subscribe.